Just finished reviewing major scale kinds of things. So, another one of the two main types of scales that you're going to encounter is called the minor scale. So, major scale we are familiar with. Minor scales, the basic minor scale, we'll get to that later. What are some differences that you guys hear between the two scales? Think about it while I play them again. Here's major and minor.
Minor sounds sad.
Sad? Yeah, a lot of people think that major's kind of happy and minor's sad. Yes?
There's not a leading tone.
There's not a leading tone. Right. So he, instead of having, which really wants to go to the tonic, it doesn't have quite as much of a pull. That was very good. Anything else?
The sixth syllable degree is different too.
Yeah. The sixth. Yeah, that's definitely flat. Good ears, guys. That was really nice. Okay. So yeah, we covered everything. The three pitches that are lowered in the main minor scale are the third scale degree, the sixth and the seventh. You guys got the sixth and seventh, but there's also the third scale degree. And that's the biggest way that you tell the difference between a major and minor scale, or at least that's what most people hear at first because of the major triad. The third is lowered, and that's what gives it the sad quality. Real quick, we have okay, so here's a C major scale. What can I do to make it a minor scale?
We just said the third was lowered.
Okay, and how do I lower a pitch?
Flat.
Flat.
Yeah.
Flat, right. So this will be E flat. Okay, and there were two more
Right, we got rid of the leading tone, right?
leading tones, so this will now be a,
So we just take it out.
well, we gotta make it lower, just
Okay.
like we did with the E.
We flat it
We
too.
lower it, so we flat that as well.
Right. Okay, one more.
Why is
What?
that?
Why is
Wait,
it
what is it?
next?
Oh. Okay, so we have one more.
6.
Six. Okay? So if you guys want to sing with me, real quick, starting with C. So we have C, D, E flat, F, G, A flat, E flat, C. That was beautiful, you guys. First try. Awesome. Okay? Half steps and whole steps. We've talked about this before. So, can you tell me half step or whole step?
Whole step.
Whole step, because there's a C sharp in between here. Okay?
Half step.
Half step. Good?
Whole step.
Whole step.
Whole step?
Why is it?
Yeah.
I thought E to F was a half step.
It is a half step, right? Because on the piano, remember looking at the keyboard, you have E, F, and then you would have F sharp. And over here, you would have the E flat. So that's a half step, and then another half step, or two half steps make
Whole step.
whole step. Right. So that was good for you guys, trying to trick you. Okay, F to G,
Whole step.
Whole
Whole step.
G to A flat,
Whole step.
Half
half step. So whole step, two white notes, G to A, and A flat's in the middle. Okay, what about A flat to B flat?
But I thought when you flatted things, you made them lower, so wouldn't that make it farther apart?
No, because this is, that's a good question. G to A flat, you'd have G to A, and you're moving it flat or down, so it's gonna be closer to
Oh.
the G.
Like it's pulling towards the G now?
Yeah, you're kind of squishing
Oh,
the interval.
Oh, okay.
smushing it, okay.
Okay, and A flat to B flat.
Whole step.
Whole step.
Whole step, because in between A flat and B flat, you have what note?
A.
A, right. Good.
So
And
is
last
that
but not, huh?
oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Is that just like A to B, but you just added the flats to it, so it's like the same relationship, but it just moved down?
If you want to think about it that way, it could be. In cases like this, like E to F, that's a whole step because E and F are two white notes that are a half step apart. So thinking about that might not be the best way because it's not always the same. But in this case, since there's such a thing as A natural, B natural, B flat, A flat, then that you could think about it that way.
Okay, cool, thank
Okay.
you.
And last but not least, we do not have a leading tone, so B flat to C is
Whole step.
whole step. Very nice. Okay. So I said that this is the main kind of minor scale. There are actually three kinds. This is the natural minor. And that's what I like to think of as like the pure minor scale. Yes?
But if we started on E flat, then it'd be a major scale. So why do we hear it as minor?
That's a good question. They have the same key signature, the same notes in the scale, but because the tonic is different, it's C instead of E flat, the notes relate different to each other. Like when we were talking tonic, dominant, and the leading tone, in E flat major, the leading tone is D. In C, the leading tone would be B, but it's B flat. So all those things get switched around, and so because this is the main note of the scale instead of E flat, it totally behaves differently than major. That's a really good question.
Would
Is
we
that-
hear it as tonic if it didn't have a leading tone?
You can. If you heard something like that in the song, you would know that it was going back to C, or the main note that I started on, right?
Because the notes still lead there, even though they don't lead there from like under it?
Yeah, a little bit. A lot of it has to do with the harmonies that are supporting the melody. And we'll get a little more into that. Talking about the other minor scales, quick question?
What happened if you played an E flat chord under it?
An E flat chord? Well, let's see. In the key of C, that would be a third. That might be kind of a different thing going on.
Sounds
But-
I
jazzy.
like that better.
Yeah. Okay, so natural minor scale. There are two other kinds. We'll just kind of erase this for now, because I meant to use that, but I don't, so, actually, yeah, I'm just gonna use those.
Oh, well, what's all that stuff? We don't know about that.
That's for the next class. All right, so now we're gonna use bass clef because it's fun.
I don't play trombone.
Yes? Oh, thank you. All right, so there's our major scale again. And there's two different ones. We'll start with the harmonic minor, and those have flat 3, flat 6. But we have our normal leading tone. Okay? So, flat 3, 1, 2, 3, we've got our E flat again. And what was next? Flat
6.
Which would be which note?
A.
A flat. Okay, but we have
The leading
B
tone.
natural. I'm going to put it natural just to remind. So the harmonic minor it still has that leading quality. Yes.
So, why would we want that? Because that's really far apart from the flat 6, right?
Yes.
That
It is,
creates sort of like a weird interval.
it is a weird interval.
Why would people want that if it's really hard to sing?
Because when it's called harmonic minor, because of the harmonies, you still have that leading tone, and sometimes in music you'll have like and then the what is it? That is the leading tone in this thing. In this is terrible. B natural, which would sound very different. That's using the natural minor notes, and it doesn't have quite as much of a pull if I use the harmonies containing the B natural leading tone. Does that make more sense?
So it's kind of like it's more dramatic.
It could be, yeah, it could be. And even we're gonna get more dramatic still. Let's sing this real quick. Actually, no, that's the part that I skipped, sorry. We'll pretend that we sang it, okay? And the third type of minor scale is called the melodic minor scale, okay? So here we are up here. Let's do C.
Oh, this is already easier to sing.
Yes, okay. So the melodic, it's different going up than it is going down. So, I should have started this earlier, but, you guys can kind of see back over here, right?
Yeah.
So going up, I forgot to mention this, in all three minor scales, remember I was talking about the minor triad, that's the easiest way to tell. That's because in all three minor scales, the 3 is low. So we have this beautiful B flat, or E flat, sorry. Okay, in the melodic minor, the top half of the scale is like major. It's just like the major scale, so we do not have a lowered 6 or 7. These are just like the major scale, but going down, they're lowered.
Why? Why would they do that?
Going back to what I was talking about with the harmonic minor, using the 7th and the leading tone with the harmonies and keeping it more dramatic and moving forward, this is even more dramatic still. Because when you're going up the scale, you want to lead to the tonic, and then sometimes going back to the natural one, you don't need that pull going up to the top because you're going back down to the bottom. That's one way of thinking about it. But so this is very different from the other scales in that it's different going up and going down. Yes?
Is it pulling back down? When
Um,
you lower them?
A little bit.
Yeah, not as
Not
much.
as much, no.
Okay.
Okay? So, let's say we just sang it. If I had, pick a key.
F sharp minor.
Maybe something a little less.
D minor.
D minor, okay. So, D major scale would be, what notes would be sharp in a D major scale?
F sharp.
F sharp,
F sharp, C
C sharp.
F sharp and C sharp, okay? So here's our D major scale. What do we do to make it a minor scale?
Well, which kind?
Good question.
Flat the 3.
Yes, we
Oh,
always
yes.
have flat the 3. So it's gonna be an F.
Flat.
Okay, I know you guys know this. We have sharp, natural, and flat. So if we're going, lowering a sharp, we make it natural. Okay, thank you
So we
guys.
just lower it, we don't flat it.
Yes, correct. All right. Flat and lower could be used interchangeably sometimes, even though they really shouldn't be because they are totally different things. Okay, so we have a natural third or a flatted third in terms of the scale. Okay, and for natural minor, which scale degrees were lowered?
6 and
6
7.
and
6 and 7. So 6th scale degree is B.
So it needs to be
Flat.
flat.
B flat because it's going from natural to flat. Okay, and then our leading tone is no longer a leading tone, but is now
Natural.
Isn't
Huh?
that like submediate?
we haven't gotten that far yet.
Oh, okay.
We
I
just talked
learned
about
that
the 3.
on a Google slide.
Okay, so that's a natural minor scale.